First of all, we look onto the audit objectives and scope of audit work in computerized environment. An auditor will audit around the computer by reviewing and examining sources document or input and checking their final output based on those document. As computer system became more fully integrated and the volume of transactions increased, it has become more difficult to audit around the computer because much of the audit row was lost within the computer. Then, the auditor will investigate the data processing system by feeding the computer with hypothetical transactions covering all the type of situations in which the auditor is instructed and ascertaining the answer produced are correct and the wrong data are rejected. If the system is satisfactorily controlled, the auditor relies upon the system and infers that the financial accounting information processed by the system is correct. That indicates that the audit procedure has changed to adapt to the increasing computer environment. Auditing in SIS environment, auditor focus on the adequacy of controls over transactions, not upon the transactions themselves as in manual system. The overall objectives and scope of an audit do not change in SIS environment. The use of a computer changes the processing, storage and communication of financial information, and this may affect the accounting and internal control system employed by the entity. So we can summarize that there is no change in the method of the audit, no change in standard of auditing, but have changed in the auditing techniques.
Now let's continue with risk assessment of information technology. The nature of the risk in computer information system environment includes I. Lack of transaction trail. Audit trail may available for the short period or not in the form of computer-readable form. Or if the transaction is too complex and high volume, errors may embedded in application's program logic and difficult to detect on a timely basis. 2. Lack of segregation of duties. Many of control procedures are performed by separate individual in manual systems but may not be in computer information system. 3. Potential for errors and irregularities. Potential for human error and unable to detect the error may be greater in computer information system. Also, the potential of unauthorized access to data without visible evidence may be greater in computer information system than manual system. Furthermore, decreased human involvement in handling transaction in computer information system can reduce check the balance activities that may cause error unable to detect. 4. Initiation or execution of transaction. Computer information system may have capabilities to execution transaction automatically. For example, calculation of depreciation. The authorization for transaction is not available. V. Lack of visible output. Certain transaction or result may not be printed. Thus, the lack of visible output may result in the need to access data retained on files readable only by computer. Vi. Ease of access to data and computer programs. Data and computer programs can be accessed and altered at the computer or from the remote location. Therefore, auditor should review the appropriate control measure to prevent unauthorized access and alteration of the data. 7. Absence of input document. Data may be entered into the computer without supporting documents. 8. Risk may result from computer information system activities. Assessment of deficiencies in activities such as program development, maintenance, operation, physical computer information system security and etc. 9. Risk due to complex application in computer information system. For example, integrated data between department within organization and with other organization. These also may increase risk and required further consideration. Internal control. Internal control component affected by CIS are the human resource policies and practices, assignment of authority and responsibility, segregation of duties, physical control over assets and records and information processing. Human resource policies and practices. Employees that are trustworthy and competent are very important. In the CIS environment, business need to have a competent staff in order to operate the computer and program as well as to monitor the integrity of the data. It is essential to give staff an effective training to ensure staff possess the required knowledge. Assignment of authority and responsibility. This is a very important element in the internal control. Clear lines of authority and responsibility are crucial to ensure entities' objectives are met. In the CIS environment, the responsible of entities' data are centralized to the administrator. The users from other department can easily access to a particular database. Segregation of duties. It is costly to implement segregation of duties in the CIS environment. This is because one person may perform the whole process of a transaction from initiation, authorization and recording the transaction, especially to the small and medium-sized business enterprise. As a result, it is important to have adequate control in CIS physical control over assets and records. In CIS environment, the records are stored electronically and can be accessed through the computer terminals. The entity should also have a proper backup control for the computer programs and data file. Information processing. There are two areas in which information processing affected by CIS. First is the authorization of transaction. In the CIS environment, the authorization for many transaction may be part of the application program. The second one is keeping of adequate documents and record. In manual system, the hard copy of document is available for the auditor to observe. However, in CIS environment, hard copy or audit trail may not be available. Types of control in CIS environment. First is the general control. It is related to overall control information processing environment and sometimes referred to supervisory, management or information technology control. The data center and network operations. There are no authorized access to the programs, files and system documentation. The operator responsible is to be rotated and the files should be properly maintained and backup. System software acquisition, change and maintenance controls. The system software are the computer system that control the computer function and allow the application program to run. Access security control. It is including the physical protection of the computer equipment, software and data and also the loss of assets and information caused by theft and unauthorized use. Application system acquisition, development and maintenance controls. Accounting system is one of the example of application system. The control on these is critical to ensure the reliability of information processing. The involvement of internal and external auditors in the early stage might be better to design the system to ensure the proper control are incorporated. Application control. It is applied to the processing of individual accounting application and these control will help to ensure the completeness and accuracy of transaction processing, authorization and validity. The control over input. It is to ensure the transactions are properly authorized. To ensure there are no transactions are lost, added, duplicated and are modified. To ensure all the incorrect transactions are rejected and corrected. Control over processing and computer data files. To ensure the transaction key and being processed by the computer and data files properly stored. The processing errors are being identified and corrected. Control over output. It is designed to provide a reasonable assurance that the result of processing are accurate. Access to output is restricted to authorized personnel and output is provided to appropriate authorized personnel.
Auditing through computer techniques, computer-assisted audit techniques. In this subtopic, we will learn about nature and types of CAATs, auditing software that can be used, test data, and lastly, consideration in using CAATs. Nature of CAATs. CAATs is the practice of using computers to automatize the information technology of audit processes. CAATs normally includes using basic office productivity software such as spreadsheet, word processors and text editing programs and more advanced software packages involving use statistical analysis and business intelligence tools. ISA 401 Auditing in Computer Information System Environment discusses some of the uses of CAATs in following condition: the absence of input documents or lack of audit trails, Effectiveness and efficiency of auditing procedures may be improved through the use of CAAT. Type of CAATs. Commonly there are two types of CAATs. Audit software. Test data. Let us go into deeper in the audit software. Audit software is a computer program to examine the contents of the client's file for audit purposes. Audit software used during substantive testing to determine the reliability of accounting controls and integrity of computerized accounting records. Typical testing includes calculation checks, detecting violation of system rules. For example, the program checks all accounts on sales ledger to ensure that no customer has a balance above credit limit. Selecting items for audit testing, for example, obtain the sample to send confirmation. Completeness checks, for example, checking continuity of sales invoices to ensure they are all accounted for. Example of auditing software that can be used. Audit Express. Audit Command Language, ACL. IDA, Data Analysis Software. First example of audit software, Audit Express. Audit Express is an automation software, is widely used by accounting firms in Malaysia and Singapore. Improves both the speed and quality of undertaking an audit engagement. Designed not only to help to reduce costs and increase operational efficiency, it also assists to address the major elements of a good system of quality control as required by the quality control standards. Audit Express features are: this system captures and analyzes client financial data, transforming it into a ready platform so that auditor can concentrate on the real audit. It smartly links audit working papers to annual reports, and thereby improves both the speed and quality of undertaking an audit engagement. Take advantage of many Microsoft Office features, such as arithmetic calculations of Microsoft Excel and word processing of Microsoft Word. Second example of audit software is ACL, Audit Command Language. ACL Data Analytics is a data extraction and analysis software used for fraud detection and prevention and risk management. By sampling large data sets, ACL data analysis software is used to find irregularities or patterns in transactions that could indicate control weaknesses or fraud. ACL features are specifically designed to help risk and control groups, such as audit, risk, compliance, IT or financial control professionals perform in-depth analysis of data with ease. Quickly find exceptions and control breakdowns that leave the auditor exposed to financial and reputational risk, increasing coverage and decrease the time it takes to analyze the truth, and your transactions can be easy. Third example of audit software is IDA, Data Analysis Software. A powerful and user-friendly data analysis tool designed to help auditors, accountants and other finance professionals perform data analysis quickly to help improve audits and identify control breakdowns. IDEA allows to analyze 100% of your data, guarantees data integrity and provides easy analysis with over 100 audit-relevant tasks. IDA features are: imports data from a wide range of file types, performs calculations, tests for missing or duplicate items, selects samples using systematic, random or monetary unit techniques, matches or compares data from different sources, maintains an audit trail, log of all operations performed. Test data. Now, let's us move on to another type of CAATs, that is test data. Test data is data used by the auditor to test the operation of the enterprise's computer program. The auditor uses test data primarily for testing the application controls in the entity's computer programs. For example, unauthorized password may be used in an attempt to gain entry, transaction with incorrect coding and transaction with non-existing customer or suppliers. These to ensure that the system properly rejects invalid transactions. Consideration in using CAATs. CAATs can considered to be used if no visible evidence available and the only is CAAT. The extent of the ability of CAAT to perform tests on various financial statements items. Report need to be produced by the auditors within comparatively short time. In such cases, it may be more efficient to use CAATs. The condition of hardware, computer, and the ability to support CAATs.
Now we have come to audit for e-commerce and its impact towards financial statement. First of all, let me tell you what is e-commerce. In general, e-commerce or electronic commerce refers to the process of buying and selling product through the internet. It is a paperless transaction. There are several types of e-commerce services or activities. For instance, business-to-business such as Cisco System, business-to-consumer such as Amazon, and consumer-to-consumer such as Meta or eBay. So, as an auditor, he should have the skill and knowledge on technology. The level of skills and knowledge required to understand the effect of e-commerce on the audit will vary with the complexity of the entity's e-commerce activities. When e-commerce has a significant effect on the entity's business, appropriate levels of both information technology, IT, and internet business knowledge may be required to understand the strategy and activities, technology used to facilitate the e-commerce and risk involved. He also should know the nature, timing and extent of audit procedures and evaluation of audit evidence. He should also know the effect of the entity's dependence on e-commerce activities on its ability to continue as a going concern. However, auditor may decide to use the work of an expert. Before he starts the audit, he should equip himself regarding the organization that use e-commerce activities. This is to enable the auditor to identify and understand the events, transactions and practices that may have a significant effect on the financial statements or on the audit report. He needs to consider several areas, which includes the entity's business activities and industry, the entity's e-commerce strategy, the extent of the entity's e-commerce activities, and the entity's outsourcing arrangements. In the e-commerce, there certainly will be a lot of risk. Therefore this can give impact towards the audit evidence as well as giving effect to the financial statement. Among the risks that could occur in the management are loss of transaction integrity, pervasive e-commerce security risk, and improper accounting policy. Therefore, the auditor should use his knowledge to identify events, transactions and practices which relates to business risk arises from the e-commerce activities. However, the auditor's judgment would result in material misstatement which have significant effect on the audit procedure or reports. Therefore, internal controls can be used to mitigate many of the risks associated with e-commerce activities. The impact towards the financial statements brings up several effects. Since electronic records is paperless, it will create risks towards the evidence, as the data can easily be destroyed and altered without leaving a trace. Therefore, auditor should consider whether the entity's security of information policies, and security controls as implemented, are adequate to prevent unauthorized changes to the accounting system or records, or to systems that provide data to the accounting system. Besides that, the effect causes auditor to test automated controls, such as electronic date stamps, and digital signatures when considering the integrity of electronic evidence. However, it depends on the auditor's assessment of these controls. The auditor may also consider the need to perform additional procedures such as confirming transaction details or account balances with third parties.